Today we are here to celebrate and to honor and to commemorate the dead and the living. The young men who in every war since this country began have given testimony to their loyalty to their country and their own great courage. I do not believe that any nation in the history of the world has buried its soldiers further from its native soil than we Americans, or buried them closer to the towns in which they grew up. We celebrate this Veterans Day for a very few minutes, a few seconds of silence, and then this country's life goes on. But I think it most appropriate that we recall on this occasion and on every other moment when we are faced with great responsibilities, the contribution and the sacrifice which so many men and their families have made in order to permit this country to now occupy its present position of responsibility and freedom, and in order to permit us to gather here together. Bruce Catton, after totaling the casualties which took place in the Battle of Antietam, not so very far from this cemetery, when he looked at statistics which showed that in the short space of a few minutes, whole regiments lost 50 to 75% of their numbers, then wrote that life perhaps isn't the most precious gift of all, that men died for the possession of a few feet of a cornfield or a rocky hill, or for almost nothing at all. But in a very larger sense, they died that this country might permit it to go on, and that it might permit it to be fulfilled, the great hopes of its founders. In a world tormented by tension and the possibilities of conflict, we meet in a quiet commemoration of an historic day of peace. In an age that threatens the survival of freedom, we join together to honor those who made our freedom possible.
When a young person signs their name on the dotted line to join our Army, Navy, Air Force, or Marine Corps, they don't necessarily totally understand it, but what they're signing that document to do, they're signing that document to potentially give their life for their country. It's not just signing up to be a mechanic or an infantryman or a pilot. It's signing up to potentially give your life for this country. And many of our military men and women have done that. And so all the veterans that survived all these wars and survived, the various conflicts that we've been involved in, I just want to say thanks to all of them. They are the true bedrock of our country, because through our veterans, through their service to our country, they give us everything that we have, every joy that we see in our lives, every happiness that we have, all the luxuries that we have, all the privileges that we have. That's what our veterans do.
The men and women who have donned our nation's uniforms are the bravest, toughest, strongest, and most virtuous warriors ever to walk on earth. You left your families and fought in faraway lands. You came face to face with evil, and you did not back down. You returned home from war, and you never forgot your friends who didn't return, including prisoners of war and those missing in action. Every day you think of them and pray for them, but your greatest tribute of all is the way you lived your lives in the years since. You raised your families, you endured the wounds of war, and you endured the pains of that memory. Yet, you keep going, you keep serving, you keep giving, and you keep loving. With God as our witness, we pledge to always honor our veterans and pay a mortal tribute to those who have laid down their lives so that we might be free.